I've spoken to over 350 agency owners in the last 2.5 years, and the ones that burn out all make the same mistake. It's not that they're working too many hours. It's not that they're working with the wrong clients. It's not even that they're hiring the wrong people. It's the pressure they're putting on themselves, and the fact that it's often the wrong type of pressure. It's coming from the wrong place. So in this video, I'm going to break down where that pressure comes from, how to avoid burnout, and ultimately build an agency in the process of doing so that's stronger and more reliable. The pattern I see over and over again is that regardless of the number, at some point an agency owner will hit a certain level or a certain size of agency and they will really struggle. And from the outside, it looks great. They've got the clients, they've got the revenue, they've got the team, they've got the new shiny office, and everything seems to be going to plan. But internally, they're feeling more pressure and more strain than ever. And that usually culminates in them as a person, as an individual, burning out. So pressure, when it comes from the right place with clarity, can really help you grow an agency or grow a business or make progress. But as often the case, pressure from the wrong place without clarity can ultimately end up in the owner burning out. So I'm going to take you through the things that I see, the patterns that I can identify over the years of working with agency owners that are something to keep an eye on, and then what to actually do about it when you spot these. So reason number one why agency owners burn out is that they don't even know why they're building the agency. They have no idea why they're actually doing what they're doing. They're just growing an agency for the sake of growing an agency because they read a book or they saw a post on the internet or they heard someone talking at an event about scale and growth. Fundamentally, you have to understand your why. Why are you doing this and what are you building towards? It's no different to anything else. You wouldn't enter a race without knowing that you're going to complete a certain amount of miles, or you wouldn't set out to do something without understanding what the finish line or success looked like. So why would you do it for your agency? And the most important thing here for any agency owner to understand, and it's usually the first thing I work with anyone on, is figuring out what success is for you. It's not what success is for 30, 40, 50, 60 other agency owners. For you personally, that's why you're doing this. You want to find success through your own business, through your own endeavors, that ultimately helps you reach a point where it fulfills something in your life for you or for your family, most likely. Reason number two why an agency owner typically burns out is that they're trying to do it all themselves. Now, I respect that in the early days, and as is the case with any business, everything kind of comes back to the owner or owners, and a lot of pressure can come from the simple act of having to handle a lot of things. But as the agency grows, and again, as the agency gets to a certain size, you've created the space or you've created the opportunity for yourself to bring other people in to support you or support others in your business to do certain things to a higher standard or so that you don't have to do them. So one, identifying what you need support on, accepting that it's okay to say you need help or okay to invest your capital or cash back into the business, and being very clear about what success looks like for that individual or for someone who's going to come in and do something for you that you no longer can do. So for example, a very common one there is delivery or implementation in the agency. The owner at a certain stage has to let go of that in order to focus on other things to grow their agency to a certain size. Reason number three why agency owners burn out then comes down to prioritization. An agency owner might even know exactly what they want. They might even have delegated to certain people and they might have started building out their team, but they still have to prioritize themselves, the things that they're doing, the most impactful things for the business and the agency, and the right things for them as an owner to be investing their time and energy into. So if the owner isn't prioritizing, the question will always be, well, what are you spending your time on? And quite often, it's the case that they're still spending their time on a lot of things. So they've gone from doing everything that usually relates to client delivery and client work to just doing random things. And that's a different challenge, right? So reason three, not prioritizing the right things. How do we go about figuring out what they are? It starts again with point one, which is why you're doing this, what your ambition is, what success looks like. What are the things that you as the owner need to do that others can't or that you want to do towards achieving that goal? Because if you've done point two really well, you will have people helping you in certain areas. This point is specifically about you. What is it that you are going to help the business with over the next 12, 24, 36 months that's going to help it become the shape and size that you want it to be? So if reason 1 is not understanding why you're doing what you're doing and what success looks like, and reason 2 is trying to do everything, and reason 3 is not prioritizing, reason 4 is that you get sucked back into things as an agency owner. So even if you've done all those first 3 things, another common thing I see, a pattern, is that the owner will get dragged back into things, or themselves will just end up finding themselves interested in or getting involved in things that they probably shouldn't be. And this is, again, a reason why owners burn out, because they end up stretching themselves too thin, or they end up stressing themselves out, or burning out or draining the energy of our people in their team by getting involved in things that they don't need to be or shouldn't really be in. And this is a very common occurrence for owners that are delegating or building out their team for the first time. They really struggle with the transition from doing it all themselves, prioritizing certain things, and letting go of the things that they really need to. I don't expect an owner right off the bat to be able to say, yep, no problem, this person's going to handle it and they're going to follow this process and it's going to be perfect. In fact, if anything, I wouldn't recommend that. There's a bit of a transition, and within that transition there are going to be these challenges, this tough mental barrier blocking owners often from making the shift from being an all hands-on, involved in everything owner to this more of an operator mode. And if there is a 5th reason why agency owners get burnt out, it's ultimately down to them getting distracted or worrying about what other people are up to, their competitors, or maybe just other people in the space that they're in. The only thing we can do, and I can speak to this as a business owner myself and also as someone that used to run an agency, the only thing we can do is focus on what we're doing. Of course, it can be helpful to have a pulse on the market, have a pulse on what other people are doing in the space. But fundamentally, it's our job as leaders or owners to focus on what we are doing, prioritize the right things, and understand what's most likely to give us the outcomes, the results that we want. Our competitors and other businesses can do whatever they like, and I wish them well in their endeavors, but fundamentally, that's not our concern. And a lot of times, the stress and the strain that owners associate with the burnout will come from both internal pressure that they're putting on themselves because of what they see, but then perceived external pressure from other people in the market that they're operating in. Last thing I'll say on this point is that rarely, if ever, do I come across cases where an agency feels or struggles really badly because of what another agency is doing to them. That other agency is rarely, if ever, thinking, we are going to win this client, so this other agency doesn't. That's almost never the case. So focus on yourself, focus on what you're doing, let your competitors or let the other agencies do what they're doing. And I would probably hazard a guess is to say that over time, whoever does that consistently well will end up coming out on top or end up achieving what they want before the other. So a lot of this comes back to clarity. It's clarity for the owner, their understanding of what they need to do or what they want to do and why, and then what they need to do towards that to actually achieve it. And more often than not, if the owner can give themselves that clarity, they can then use pressure as a tool to move them maybe at a faster pace when they want to move faster, or just keep them on track to making progress towards their goals, their targets that they have for themselves and their agency. Burnout is not this badge of honor that we should wear as people running a business. It's not something to be proud of. It is a consequence of confusion, uncertainty, and probably just working on the wrong things or not understanding what is most important to you in your business. So instead of burning out, instead of worrying, instead of losing sleep at night, let's focus on the things that matter to you and narrow down exactly what it is you can do towards those things. So once you have clarity and an understanding in terms of what direction you want to go in, the next step is really figuring out what's maybe not up to scratch, what's broken within your agency that needs to be better, or that might be holding you back from actually achieving the things that you need to or want to. And that is ultimately about systems. So if you want to figure out what core systems, and I would say there are 3 that any agency should have when they get to a certain stage, check out this video. It will take you through a range of things that will explain how you can get from this chaotic getting things done day to day mode into a more systemized, structured approach that helps you scale and build your agency.